Hello, my name is Sydney, and this is my dissection of a Lubber grasshopper. Starting with the external anatomy, we can tell that this specimen is an adult based on the presence of fully developed fore and hind wings. On the external anatomy, we can see that the entire body is covered in a hard exoskeleton. The grasshopper's body can be divided into three main segments: the head, the thorax, and the abdomen. Working from the front to the back, we'll focus first on the head structure. The structure itself is made of several thick plates known as sclerites fused together. The top of the head is the epicranium, which is fused to the plate below the antenna known as the frons. Below that is the clypeus, and on the sides, cheek-like area, is the gena. The most prominent organs attached to the head are the two jointed antennae, which provide the insect with a sense of touch, and its version of scent known as olfaction. The other most prominent organ is the compound eye, which is made of thousands of fused ommatidia. The mouth of the grasshopper is made of the labrum, which acts like an upper lip. Below that, we can see the two mandibles, which are hardened and serrated for the grasshopper to use for chewing. There's two of them, for the sake of time, I'll remove one. Below that are the maxillae, which uses the maxillary palp, the gale, and the lacina to manipulate food. And below that is the labium, which is similar to a lower lip and has two labial palp, also used for food manipulation. The thorax is divided into three main segments: the prothorax, the mesothorax, and the metathorax. In this specimen, we can tell that the meso and the metathorax are fused together. Attached to the prothorax is the protonum, which is a hard covering which extends over the wing bases. Attached to the mesothorax, we find the wings, which are made up of two different parts: a hard protective exoskeleton covering, known as the forewing, and below that we'll find a membranous hindwing, which is the actual thing used for flight. It has a very extensive vein pattern, which is used a lot in taxonomic identification. Each section of the thorax has its own set of legs. All 6 legs are made of the same parts. We'll remove one to look at closer. First, you have the coxa and the trochanter, which in this specimen are fused. Then you have the femur, followed by the tibia, and the tarsus. On the tarsus, there are friction pads called areolum, which help them to cling. All legs are made of the same basic parts. However, the hind leg, unlike the first 2 legs, have an enlarged tibia and femur to allow for jumping. Located on the segmented abdomen is the tympanum, which is the insect's auditory organ. At the end of the abdomen, you will either find claspers, which indicate a male specimen, or a pointed end, and 2 ovipositors, which is indicative of a female. Moving on to the internal anatomy, first I will remove the remaining wings and legs. This will make it easier to remove the back. I'll start up by the head. When opening the back, you'll want to make sure to keep your scissors, the tips as high as you can, up near the exoskeleton, so that you're not damaging the internal anatomy. I'm going to fully remove the back to make it a little bit easier to see the internal cavity where all the organs are, known as the hemocoel. I'll pin it down. And then the first system we're going to talk about is the circulatory system, which runs dorsally along the back of the abdomen. The heart is a tubular heart, and as with all arthropods, the grasshopper has an open circulatory system. Hemolymph enters and leaves the tubular heart via the ostia, and it bathes the internal structures in the circulatory liquid. The digestive tract of the grasshopper is made up of the foregut, the midgut, and the hindgut. Starting at the foregut, there's the esophagus, which takes food from the pharynx, which is in the head, to the crop, which is this large storage structure here. It's stored there before it's moved into the proventriculus, where it's ground up. And here, behind the ovaries, you can see finger-like projections, which are the gastric ceca, and this joins the fore and the midgut. As well, it digests and absorbs the food. The midgut and the hindgut are joined by the Malpighian tubules, which you can't see without a microscope. The hindgut then enlarges into the rectum before reaching the anus, where waste is excreted. These large structures here, because our specimen is a female, are the ovaries. That's all. Thank you.